if you're going through financial stress, you've got to try to meet with somebody who is at a better stage of their life and ask them for their time. You just got to take off the ego and ask for some help. You've got to stay off the recreational drugs and alcohol. You've got to get off that. You've got to get clean physically and mentally. That's my best advice. Do that first, and then obviously get yourself physically fit, because then you'll naturally mentally get fit.
Matt Pillios is one of Victoria's top real estate agents who sold $600 million plus in real estate.
He's sold homes for AFL stars, celebrities, and high net worth clients. And today, he's here to show you how to win in business, body, and life.
I just thought if I could become athlete fit in real estate, like an NRL player, where I'm at my absolute peak when I'm working in the real estate seasons, I'm going to be the best. When you lose that hungry stomach and when you get too comfortable, you could lose that eye of the tiger. I grew up loving Rocky. Rocky was not silver spoon, it's from the streets, and I just feel like if I'm too posh, I've got my office set up, not too comfortable, because I need to work. What's going to help me make the most money? It's like winning ugly instead of losing pretty. Your partner at home is a very important choice. Make sure you have a happy home. You have someone who's supporting you, because it's one of the biggest personal decisions / business decisions you can ever make.
If you were to give advice to your son or your younger self, what needed to change for you now to have the mindset you've got?
It's a good question.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Both Sides podcast. We're very fortunate today to have a reoccurring guest, Matt Pillios, join us again. I'm excited for this one, not only due to our personal relationship, but because of your energy. And this isn't our own opinion. This is something that's been spoken about throughout the industry. Your competitors say it in a good way. How do you keep this extremely high frequency of energy throughout everything that you're doing? Like you're putting 38 deals on the market right now. You're a director at this business. You're calling auctions. You're doing charity auctions. How do you keep this high frequency at all times? Because it's not one day up, one day down. It's consistent, and it's been consistent for a long time. That's the reputation.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to you, Kev and Dan, for having us, mate. I love what you're doing, and watching you interview elite guys. Seeing Gav last week. I love Gav Rubenstein and met him a few times, and some of your guests that you've had in Sydney and even in Melbourne. Quite honoured to be here. So, firstly, thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
In terms of your question, energy. The honest truth is, I truly believe energy comes from here. Like you've got to be authentic. And in real estate, it's a people's game. It's a relationship game. So in terms of energy, the energy it gives, firstly, I think it's happiness, and being energetic is being happy of who you are, what you do. Like when you guys came in here, I was so excited. I was hugging you guys.
If we
had cameras and stuff pre that, like, your lovely fiancés came, we all went to that, we showed the office, and they're like, this guy's bloody crazy, but it's just the energy. I was so rapt to see you. So it just becomes from being authentic. In terms of physical energy, I do a lot in terms of looking after myself physically.
Hour and a half in the gym every morning.
Mate, it's not the gym. It's the Instagram photos of his rig out with this with the 8-pack, and the girls are like, "Damn, what's this, mate? You gotta fucking pick your game." I was like,
I've been absolutely, since I posted that story, it's the only thing I've posted in 3 years. A story in Bali. I was at the family. We did like a 2-hour circuit. I did 2 hours. They did 1 hour. I had my wife, my daughter, my son Duke, who's ripped, and his girlfriend is really fit. We did with a friend. We did a quick photo. Posted it. Thinking not much, mate. I've been drilled. Really positive, but then other people, I had like 400 messages from it. But in terms of that, I just came into the mindset. I caught up with Tom Panos actually in 2019, 2020. Did some mentoring, and I just thought really learned about peaking, and I just thought if I become athlete fit in real estate, like an NRL player and AFL players, where I'm at my absolute peak when I'm working in I call them the real estate seasons. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to give myself a chance. So one thing, I call the off season, like an AFL player in NRL, I can go and enjoy myself, and that's between December the 23rd. I actually work till Christmas Eve, and then from December the 24th to, let's call it January the 31st, I get to enjoy myself. I get to live normal, go out, have some drinks, eat. I still train and stuff, but between seasons, between February and July the 1st, in that real estate season before the July holidays, and back in August till December, it is on. It's, I'm like a real estate athlete. Don't drink during the weeks. I rarely drink during the year. I might night drink once every month on a Saturday night if I go to a function and it's light, because I love training on a Sunday morning. I love being fresh on a Sunday, but that's what gets the energy. So elite fitness and health, mentally and physically, because I'm never hungover, and I'm always training. And then obviously just the energy you give by being around good people and loving what you do. And sorry for that long answer.
No. Mate, you look like you could step on stage at Mr. Olympia. But do you think the energy you put into your training, does it ever take away from your ability to perform in real estate? Like, do you ever feel you're burning the candle at both ends, or do you just get such a high from it that you transfer that energy into your performance?
Well, you know what? It's a good question, because when I was about 4 or 5 years ago, when I really took that turn in 2019, 2020, I used to be really fatigued sometimes, and I thought it could cost me. But I've got to tell you that if I haven't trained, like I've got a rule, I never train for less than 2 days in a row, for more than 2 days in a row. So I'm always training. So I train every week 6 days on, then the next week 5 days on, 2 days off. So I do 11 training sessions out of 14 every week. Wow. Because I can only go so hard. I just feel, Dan, that if I don't train, I'm never mentally the same. I've got the right nutrition, supplements, etc. I feel amazing. And if I haven't trained, I just don't feel great during the day. It's funny, but I feel mentally sharp. As you get into early 40s, I'm taking things like brain tablets, NMN, joint tablets, stuff like that during the day, vitamin C's, all that sort of stuff, and just looking after my health. Nutrition.
Do you crash like at the end of the day, or are there points in the day where your energy isn't at peak?
Not really. If I have too big of a lunch, like I try not to have too carb lunch, I just have chicken wraps and stuff like that, but never really, mate, to be honest. I crash on a Friday at about 6-7 o'clock, and I go home every Friday, and it's funny because my wife might go out with some of the mums, or even if she's home, it's quite a quiet night. My kids are in and out because they're a bit older, and what I do is rest on the couch because I need a big Saturday, so I redo that energy. But I do crash on a Saturday night now. I got home on Saturday at 6:30, and I was just doing a last FaceTime call with a vendor in my car, and I walked in at 6:50, and I was exhausted, and because I knew I'd put Monday to Saturday, I had the biggest week, and I put everything to it. Energy to every person I met that day. I did 14 opens on Saturday. So I do, but that's the reason I eat really healthy. I drink a lot of water. I mean, BCAA, amino acids, just the most healthiest sort of way. Green smoothies every day in the middle, which is kale, spinach, banana, coconut water. All that nutrition I do, it gives me energy to help us to get there. So on a Saturday night, I generally crash unless I got an event. I'm on the couch with the kids, with my wife, recovering / watching. I eat some protein ice cream, get chicken and roast potatoes, eat Old Gold dark cocoa chocolate because I can't, I don't like too much sugar. And then on a Sunday, I train for like 3 hour day. I have the biggest training session, have this routine, but I crash again by about 1 o'clock, and I just rest most Sundays.
How do you protect your energy when you've got 30 plus current clients, and then you'd have to have a lot more than that you're chasing?
Yeah.
How do you protect your energy?
It's a good question. So I make sure I sleep every night, 7 to 8 hours. So, for example, if I don't get to sleep at midnight tonight, for example, for some unknown reason, so we go out, us two and I take you out, which I'm usually in bed by 10. But just for example, I don't get to bed to midnight. Then I'm not going to wake up at 6 like I usually do. I'm going to wake up at 8 or 7:30. Yeah, right. And I'm going to push my day out tomorrow and push everything out and work tomorrow till 8, 9 o'clock. So sleep is important. I make sure I sleep. Doesn't matter what time I start, what time I finish. I sleep between 7 to 8 hours tops every day for recovery, my cells. I've done a lot of things. So, and then spiritually, Kev, is I make sure I train. So that I train between really light session 1.5 and really big session 2.5. I train 1.5 to 2.5 hours every day in the gym. Different training, like sometimes on a Monday morning I'll get there, I'll do spin bike for an hour, then I'll do weights for an hour and a half, then a Tuesday I'll do boxing. But I'll change it. But what I do, that helps me spiritually. You know, and then when I get to the gym, sometimes it's no phones, but at some stage I might do a gratitude thing 3 or 4 times a week where I just write things I'm, got gratitude for: family, health, opportunity, that sort of stuff. So the physical stuff is getting there and working out, and then the mental stuff is, just spiritually being able to have a good life and just see that, and it's sleeping well. I've got a really good mentor. I won't say who he is, but he doesn't sleep that well. And I said, mate, it's so important. Trust me, if you sleep well, it'll change your life. There's some nights I haven't been sleeping well because of stress with vendors and stuff. Then I'll just start my day later, but then I'll work till 9 o'clock that night, and so that's the greatest thing about real estate. We're not a 9 till 5:30 job. You can work, you can start later or you can start really early. I might say I want to go away tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So I'll wake up at 5, start my day early, train earlier, get the office 7. Like you can do that. That's the greatest thing because you run your own little business.
So you mentioned there's sometimes at night you'll cop a bit of the stress. What are you doing in those situations, Matty, to kind of navigate and optimize yourself so the next day you're not carrying that energy forward?
Yeah. It's, look, I just try to say, like about 9:30, I'll try to switch off. Then I'll just, I'll put everything in perspective. So I put my phone away. I'll go and see my kids. My kids are like Duke's 16 and a half and Stella's 15, and they're like young adults. So I'll just go and spend 10, 15 minutes with them. Talk. If I haven't been home for a family, a lot of times, Dan, I'll try to get home at 7:30 because they both work a bit now. We have a family dinner at 7:30. We eat half an hour, no phones. Then about 8 o'clock, look, they want to get upstairs to their room on their phones, do their homework anyway. So I get a good 35 quality minutes with them. And then I'll go back into our home office and I'll go, who haven't I called today? So I work till about 9:15. Then I go, to alleviate the stress is a bit of things like put the phone away, go and say goodnight, spend some time with my wife. I might have a Greek yoga with banana. There's this new sort of lion's mane powder that helps you switch off. It's a natural sort of no phone in bed. I've changed that. So I put my phone chargers about 3 meters away. I have these things called leg compression boots. My wife takes the piss out of me, excuse my French. But I sit on that either in bed. So last night I was sleeping in bed with these leg boots on. They're worth about $2,500. They're black boots that you sort of see at recovery lounges. So I use that. That helps me because I'm sore from training. Just a combination of things, taking magnesium thing. It's just, and just thinking work is important, but not everything.
You run at such a high pace and at an athlete level, and the expectation and discipline that you put on yourself is obviously high. How do you balance that with your team and the expectations you put on them?
Yeah, that's been a bit. Yeah, it's a good question. I've got a really good team, so I've been quite fussy where I'm not going to settle for a team with low work ethic. I'll be honest. So I have had some turnover, but I've really had a good settled team now for a few years, and I've had the best. I've got the best EA Samantha I've ever had in my career. I've got Kevin Yim, I've got this real estate agent. We sat him down. He's got the best work ethic I've ever seen. I've had Melissa with me by side, who's understood me. She's been with me. She came across from my old agency and followed me here. So she's been with us for 4 years. And then I've got, Alex, my business partner. So it's just that they just say it's just that they expect, no, they don't expect me to ask them to work as hard as I do. But I want to lead from the front because who am I as a director and boss to say, you got to work hard if I'm not working hard? So I try to lead from the front. When I played footy, how could I ask a teammate to go in hard? Well, I wasn't the most skilled player, but I was most physical, or just about in terms of physicality and going in so hard and body contact. So my team would always, mate, he's going to back us. So that's the way I feel like it is sometimes with your colleagues, because they know. I don't expect, like last night, there was a night here, I was here till 9 o'clock, and I could just see my colleague, he works till late, he works till 7:30, Kevin does. And I could see him looking at me like he just wanted to go home, the poor guy. And I was like, mate, go. I don't expect you to be. It's 7:30, it's unbelievable. He's like, fuel. Thank God. He was about to collapse. I go, mate, well done. But look, the reason is too, I've got such a big why.
Walk us through it.
Yeah, I just growing up with low finances and never have. I knew what actually, like, my cousins lived in a really high wealth area, and I was quite close with them. So I actually knew what was out there in terms of having the greater things in life. But going through the hardship and financial hardship as a young kid, like good family, but financially always tough, especially in those years between, I reckon, the memorable years as a young man, as you guys would know, you're much younger than me, but when you're 13 or 16, they're big times in your life growing up, and they were really, really bad times for me financially and through schools and stuff. So for me, it's a combination of being around some really successful people recently and going, mate, you work hard now, you can plan your life. You don't struggle financially when you're 60, 70, and 80. Because I've seen a lot of 60, 70, 80-year-olds now struggling financially. And I want to have a great life. I want to be able to travel a lot when I'm older and be healthy physically, and I want to give my kids what I did not have, and importantly make them happy though. So I try to spend enough time as a dad, not just about money, because I have witnessed wealthy people financially, but they're not wealthy in family, health, love in their relationships, right? So it's that balance. So that really drives us to give my kids a better life, have a better life, have what I didn't have growing, my first 30, 40 years. And yeah, it's a big combination of all that thing.
So those were the stresses growing up. What keeps you up at night now?
It's a good question. I think a combination of, if things aren't running perfect, I suppose, there's always things like, how did this happen? How do I get better? I hate when I'll probably get criticised. I'm a bit of a people pleaser. So I hate it when someone's just, if it's a vendor upset, if it's a business colleague, if someone's taken something wrong, things like that. Financial stress. Obviously, I'll sort of stretch myself financially. I have school fees and which are quite expensive. I think I need to. Someone said I need to make $100,000 a year just to put my kids through school. But by the time you have to pay it, you get taxed, etc. So just things like that. Mortgages, good life. Like I want to take my family to a 5-week European trip, and my wife's like, can we really afford it this year? And I said to her, probably not. But you know what? I'm just going to work so hard. Let's just do it. If we're in a bit of debt, post that, because the memories, I just don't want to get my kids get to 19, 20, they're hardly home and have that regret. And I took my kids to Greece 2 years ago. We were in Bali last year when I saw you, Kev. And it was the greatest time of my life. And my son back then was only 14 and my daughter was 13. So I'm thinking next year my son's going to be 17. My daughter's going to be 16. Oh, I'm more excited than them. Let's go to Spain for 3 days. I'm already talking about it, that. They're just looking at me, go, yeah, that'd be great. And I'm thinking, mate, when I was young, I could never go on a mid-year trip. If we were lucky, we'd go to the Rosebud little house or the caravan park, or, my dad would get something in Albury. So to be able to take them to Europe and own a villa in Bali is just, I'm very grateful, to give them the opportunity, but do that with the people I love.
Sounds bloody awesome. I do.
Oh, no.
How do I get
you guys like my 2 older second sons, especially how same hairstyle as well.
Mate, I need a ticket on that plane. But tell us about the Bali villa. What made you invest in that?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's probably not the biggest financial best investment, but it's really been a great spiritual investment. So about 2011, 12, I'd gone over probably my worst sort of financial, lost my house financially, lost a few things like that back then. I had a business, I had a nightclub, it went okay, but then we lost our liquor lot. I had a combination. I had a Vodafone business when I was like 29, 30. And I don't know if in Melbourne, Victoria, you guys are Sydney boys, but the Vodafone network had a big meltdown. So I had a meltdown where it just went off the air for like 5 days. So I literally lost all my clients. So 70% of them just said, I've got to go to Telstra Optus. Matt, you are the best account manager. Love what you do. Blah, blah. So I had this dream to try to be like Crazy John, who passed away, but he opened up all these mobile shops, got a portion of the airtime, and could just have passive income coming in. So anyway, lost that, had a bar, lost my house, was struggling financially. And I remember my first trip about 3 or 4 years in was I went to Bali. And we had a family friend, Harry, who had this villa there. And it was in the coolest part in Seminyak, right near the W Hotel. It was just hidden. So we were right part of the action, but literally a 4-minute walk where you're away from the noise. And we used to stay there, and he said, mate, just stay with us for $300 a night instead of going in. It was really cool. So we stayed there every year, sometimes with him, sometimes without. And about 3 years ago, he was a bit old, and he said, I'm going to sell it. And I said, what do you want? And he goes, $500,000. And I said, look, I didn't have $500,000 sitting in my bank because obviously things were going well, but I'm not that wealthy yet 3 years ago. So I said, mate, if I paid you in installments, I asked a few people, and I said, mate, it's worth $350, $400. So I said, look, mate, I'm not going to try to get you the price, but if you look after us, I do it in installments. I'll buy it off you. He's like, he couldn't believe it. You didn't have to pay agent's fees. He's got top dollar. So I paid him like $200,000. So I just thought it'd be great. So we could use that always to go there. I could give it to friends and family. Like sometimes I give it to friends. Like we have it on Airbnb. We had to get a company set up, do it all legitimately. But sometimes I just say to friends or clients, just stay there for free. Or you know what, we charge $750 a night. Just pay $250 a night. And it covers the staff, because you've got maids and stuff, cleaners. They wash your clothes all the time. So if you guys wanted to stay there, I'd probably give it to you guys for free. My wife would kick me. But, even if you paid $250, it'd probably be, instead of you guys getting a room, it cost you $1,000. You get a whole house right near the action. Wow. So I did it to look after people. We had a bit of an emotional attachment. My wife loved it. And now my wife runs the Airbnb. We get some income from that. So, it was a bit of a emotional decision, but it's worked well. So, it's on with Bali, though, you don't own the land. Yeah. So it's on a lease. So I've got it for 20 years, and then I'll try to extend the lease with the landlord. So I love Bali because every time I go there, I just feel amazing. It's spiritually good. The people are so grateful for the smallest things in life. It's a big reality check. And I know that you do a lot of charity work there. And they're just the Indonesians are the most wonderful people in the world. They're kind, they're generous. They're great. Like every time I get a massage, I just tip. And it's $5 here that you wouldn't even think of. And they're just, the $5 to them means so much. So there was a storms there in Bali 2 months ago. I don't know if you saw it on the news. And our manager, she's a lovely lady. She's probably in her late 40s. Her village got wiped out, and they were crying. And she makes $350 a month with us. So it's about whatever it is, about $4,500 a year. And she lost everything, so the TVs, beds, everything. And my wife just gave them $3,000-4,000 and just get back up, and it just changed their life. But for But that's like someone losing their house here. It's $1 million, So, they'll do anything for you. Yeah. So that's why I love Bali. And I go there now. I actually use it in terms of energy. I actually use it now to go there. So I go there now April for 10 days, and I work during the school holidays. So it's really quiet here in Bayside in our prestige market in the most Melbourne. It's really quiet so I work in real big seasons, but in the school holidays, I call it the quarter time break of the season. I go there for about 9-10 days, and I work there for half a day, but I don't have to wear the suit. I get vitamin D. So I go there, I train every day, I eat well. Then I work Bali time about 10 to 3 every day, which is about midday to 5 here. Do about 50 calls, FaceTimes, etc. Then I get to 2 or 3 o'clock, then I go, okay, I've got the rest of the day. Sunbake, massage, that. Don't really drink much. Go to bed at 10 o'clock, wake up again, train, and I'll get back to Melbourne, and I'm just beaming of energy. So I've been using it for that as well.
So important, the sun, eh?
So important. Vitamin D is the biggest. Doctors will never tell you that. They'll tell you tablets, but let me tell you, vitamin D is the best drug you can ever have.
Can we peel it back to when you were going through those hard financial times, and I've been through them too, that in my opinion, they're some of, if not the worst on your mental health that you can deal with.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of people listening to this that might not be doing so financially well. Like, cost of living sucks. It's just tough for a lot of people. What would your advice be to the people that are young going through it right now that might not have been through it before?
Yeah, if you're going through financial stress, you've got to try to meet with somebody who is at a better stage of their life and ask them for their time. And you just got to take off the ego and ask for some help. So, which I did. I was lucky to know a few good people. A really good family friend of mine, Marino, who's our actually Kay Burton accountant. But he's like a really wealthy business guy. But he's from the school Hard Knocks as well. So he sort of mentored me. Him and his son Pete sort of helped us through that time just with advice. Brian Armature, a very successful business guy who owns the boxing in Victoria, and I actually working at Fox Sports and still going through. And so I was going to them asking for some help, and I let my guard down, and they were fine. They were, mate, what you got to do is start planning. You got to work hard. You got to make more money. You got to do this. You just got to. It's just it's a bit of a grind for the next. Put a 5-year plan. First year or two will be hard, but you'll see the sun. Trust us. And it was a combination of that. So you'll get through it. What you got to do is you got to stay off. Like a lot of people when you're young. I'm not saying anyone's doing it, but you got to stay off the recreational. If drugs and alcohol. Got to get off that. You got to get clean physically and mentally. That's my best advice. So that means stop drinking, stop partying if you are. Do that first, and then obviously get yourself physically fit, because then you'll naturally mentally get fit. So I got myself super fit when I went through back in 2011, 13 when I lost some stuff. Mate, I had my son Duke, I had my daughter. They were 15 months old. I was super fit, mate. I was ripped. But Belle to get her sleep, I'd go for a 2-hour run just to be able to jog with the double pram. I was just cut, and I'd train. And that made me mentally better because I'd feel amazing, So the advice is you'll get out of it, but it's a plan and it's a grind. It's one step back for 10 steps forward.
Mate, I can so agree. Like cutting out the alcohol and all that stuff. I'm 2 years sober now, not a drop.
Great
and
work.
Like
and your skin, like even your skin compared to last year.
Yeah.
I know I'm happily married. I know you are too with Isabel. But mate, you look unbelievable. I can tell.
Yeah.
And how's your mindset?
I feel like, mate, I feel $1 million. Like I just
yes.
And sharp, the clarity. Like I'm just so much smarter.
Yeah.
And it's. And anyone in your 20s, like it's the best thing you can do is stop.
100%.
Just not like I wasn't like a.
Look, you've got to go out and enjoy yourself, but when you get into that rut where it becomes your lifestyle, and it does hurt you, and it can hurt you financially as well. So yeah.
From the outside looking in, and I know I've seen it in person in Bali as well, but you are a very present dad. Especially with Duke, you see it on social media. You're always there. You're pushing him hard. How do you keep consistent being present with your kids and Belle when you're working such extreme hours? Like, is it just the 30 minutes, in the day that you're having the dinner? Or what else are you doing? What are the key metrics that you're going? So yeah, I'm doing well here.
Yeah, it's challenging in the work season. So the reason I book holidays. Is to sometimes say, like, there's weeks I hardly see them, but I'll say we're going to Bali for 2 weeks. I can't wait. So it's a bit of that. I coached Duke's footy side this year. It was a great honour, but because there's 2 or 3 of the dads only knew about footy, and I did it because I knew I was going to do a reasonable job, but it was a big effort because it was under 16 Division 1. They're young men, strong-minded. A lot of them are like, whatever. But I wanted to see Duke every time and help him and be part of him. And it was tough for him too because sometimes I'm yelling at some of his mates and he's like, Dad, so look, I try to get involved with anything possible. The thing with my kids is kids are quite smart. So they know that I'm with them as much as possible outside work. And they know I work for us as a family. So that it would be quite different if they knew I was out socialising, hanging out with the boys, partying, drinking, right? But they give me the respect to be present with them in that limited time. So the time I have with them is not as much sometimes, but I'm not there I'm not spending 10 hours a week there, but sitting on the couch and strolling my phone. Maybe seeing them 6 hours a week, but I'm always with them, talking to them, having like a dinners. So I'm quite present. So it's hard to manage. It's communication. We have a group text, me, Duke, Stella, and Belle. It's funny, but we send stuff all the time.
What's your best dad joke?
Just like what I do is all the time. If I do a FaceTime call to one of them, I screenshot them and I send it later, and I'll go, "We saw you screenshot us," because they flash us apparently. What's the best dad joke? I just always. Like I'll walk in the room and I'll say, pretend Belinda, so I'll say to Stella, "Yes, Belinda, Stella is the best daughter." Like I'll say that, and she'll just look up and sort of that, and I try to do things like, I read a little bit about, like I'll let them know how proud I am at night time and in the morning. So the first thing they wake up, last thing at night time. So you keep it up, you're doing a good job. Because I can see
Positive
my son's,
reinforcement.
like I can see my son's quite, stressed because he's doing well at school, but he's working hard, grinding. He's got his own little business now. He's doing AFL footy coaching one-on-one with kids, which I'm so proud. And he's doing footy and he's fit as. So he's working hard, but I can see he's burning himself out a bit too. So I'm trying to keep that balance, but also keep him motivated. Try to be hard, but not too hard, to breaking, but not too soft. Because a lot of people in privileged areas are a bit soft. And then kids don't get, resilient. And I see it with a lot of the parents. But it's different opinion, right? They're going to say, who are you to tell us to be too hard, etc. So one thing that inspires me to be so consistent is that my son's such a great kid and my daughter's such a great kid, where they're maybe little assholes or disrespectful or spoil. I might not, human nature, I might have some resentment, I don't know. It's also teamwork with my wife. So one thing we did, we needed the money. I could have said, go to work, get $120 grand a year job, I'll do real estate. But in those prime years when they were sort of 2 to 6, 7, I said, you know what? I'm trying to start a real estate career. Just stay at home, be the best mum possible, because I didn't want to try to focus on a real estate career. Then, kids are sick. My wife's exhausted, so she looked after me so well. Always a meal at home every night. Kids were always so well looked after, happy, doing well at school, healthy. So we sacrificed that for the health, and it made us a close family. It didn't make us financially strong, but made us closer, set up a really good foundation. And we always had happy things. It's got much easier. Now, Belle makes reasonably good money, styling, furniture styling, interior design. It's good because we cross over a bit. She styles 80% of my properties, so it's good. She'll talk at night, go, I stole so-and-so's house. And then, or you get a call from an event, I met your wife. She's too good for you. You just get jokes at, but it's nice, It's sort of nice where we're not ostracized because we are both stretched. So it's just family unity, teamwork. The holidays are really good. That's why I invest in the holidays, because I just think for the 20 grand or 30 grand or 40 grand it's going to cost, the memories and the unity we have is priceless.
Unbeatable. Would you, if you were starting out again, would you go, I'm going to rephrase this, would you recommend other people, or would you recommend your younger self follow that path of keeping the family unity the way you did, where you would stretch yourself financially because Belle wasn't working? Would you repeat that again? Yeah,
look, it's a good question. I see so many wealthy financial people getting divorced and not as close. Like, I'm not saying we're the perfect family, but we're pretty super close. So, and I see a lot of more financial families not close. They've lost touch with their kids a little bit, each other. They think their kids are well behaved. Let me tell you, I see it and they're not. They just got so. What is wealth? In my opinion, wealth is a combination. Money definitely helps you financial. But wealth is your health, your mental health, physical, mental, your family, your love. Like, I know a couple of successful agents, I would never say, but mate, they're so miserable with their wives. Their kids are undisciplined, they're not that close. And when they're making all this GCI, like, why? So what is your why? Like, maybe why did you then have a family? Was it because you want to go look like you're part of the Joneses, or do you really want it to work? So I definitely advise that, mate. It's a balance for sure, Dan. It's been the greatest decision we made, because I got no doubt the stress it would have put on if Belle was working Monday to Friday every day, trying to grind, help do the kids, this and that. We're asking. Look, we were probably unfortunate because Belle's dad died when she was young. Mum's not around. My parents sort of lived far. Not like we had someone to babysit every week. Like, you get a lot of parents, which I would do for my kids, and probably Belle more. But, like, if I have grandkids one day, we'll just help weekly. It just helps them, right? So we didn't have that either. So maybe, but it's been the best decision. And I definitely recommend to younger people. The other thing I just want to say is financially, to young real estate agents, I started real estate resi at 35, and it was hard for I was in debt for my first 4 years. 4 years? 3-4 years maybe. Like, when I was probably debt, like my retainer. I'll never forget, I paid my retainer back. I was back at Buxton Real Estate, a local brand, and I remember it was 18 months until I paid my retainer back. But what I was saying, but I still invested in myself, so I was still going to courses, Tom Panos's, Josh Fegan's, buying suits, getting a better car. So I put myself in debt. Like when I moved to my second agency, I went from a 10 grand, whatever it was, a Commodore BMW X5 to a 70 grand Porsche because I needed to drive something reasonable. So I had to get that on a lease agreement. So I started buying from $300 suits to $1,000 suits. So you do invest more, So it was never out of, and real estate's so seasonal. 2017 was great, 2018 was strong, but then late 18 and 19 was really weak in Victoria because of the Royal Commission. There wasn't much money made. So it's just, you're a lot in debt. You've just got to see the big picture, plan well, save well, etc.
What have you learned in those tougher times that you're passing on to Duke?
Yep, it's the hard work. There's nothing that beats being a good person, friendly, generous, but also hard work. Like hard work pays off. And sometimes I see him stretched, and I'm like, mate, trust me, it's worth it. I know your mates aren't doing their homework, or your mates might be out. Like, he was out, he went out, now he went to the Caulfield Cup, and, he's with a friend at some friends at 10:30. He said, we're all going out, and I said, nah, it's 10:45, Mum's picking you up now. And when he got home, I was just about to sleep. I said, mate, you'll thank me, because now you'll wake up, you'll bounce out of bed at 8 o'clock, the next day he trained, and he actually worked, he coached a few kids, and he sort of got it, I said, only reason I'm strict sometimes is for you. So I just try to, the discipline and sacrifice now will revert to great things in 2, 3, 4 years' time. Yeah. I sent him things like Tom Brady speaking and Michael Jordan. I sent him that sort of stuff. I see it a lot of times as unread and read. You might go, Dad's a pain in the ass. Yeah. But, your kids are your kids, right? That's what you live for.
Mm. When we were upstairs, we saw your whiteboard. We totaled the numbers, and you're on track for your best year yet. How have you evolved since our last podcast? What have you changed about yourself?
Yeah, look, this time last year I was in a big transition. So I'd gone from one agency to Kay Burton, and I had 3 months out of it. So I feel like I just feel like I'm in an amazing space. So coming to Kay Burton, I've got amazing support and mentors here, like from the top, Ross Saviscow and Scott Patterson, Alex, the guys and the team, Amanda, they look after me so well. They've always got my back. So your environment is a big thing. Culture is king. So I'm in a great place mentally. I'm in a great place spiritually. I feel like I'm not watching my back all the time here, even in the industry you've got to. Like, there's always people trying to put you down, make up rumours when you're doing well. So I've got a really good team, which has helped me. Like, teamwork makes the dream work. I've got really the best EA I've ever had. I've got really good colleagues. Yeah, I've got a great team. I've got about 7 or 8 agents I work with. Help me handle files, but I'm on top of everything, and I go in and my agents, my competitors try to go, he's too busy, or he's got heaps of listings, but they're the ones going home at 5 or 6 o'clock. I'm working till 8, 9 o'clock, and I am on top of everything. And it's funny because 9 out of 10 vendors will say, mate, they try to say that you're too busy and you're in contact more, you're getting results, you're always present, you're always contacting us. So it's just a bit of everything. Preparation's key. Sacrifice. Like, sometimes I do want to be on my phone and go through Insta, for half an hour at night time, but I go, far out, it's 20 past 9 now. I've got to start gearing up for bed, so I'm in the best possible shape for tomorrow. It's sacrifice.
What do you think you need to change to get to the next level?
It's a good question, and I had this chat last week with Ross, and it's just getting like a lot of the people I'm affiliating with now are higher wealth people, more than I ever have. So, it's just, I'm still starting to learn a lot more about the stock market. I'm starting to learn a lot about Bitcoin, things like that, which are, I can usually just talk to my vendors about the footy, a bit about, lands per square metre, about capital growth. But with a lot of the high wealth, it's, they love talking about what's going to make money, what they're doing, Donald Trump, politics. So, I've got the AFR app, which I never used to have. Just reading a bit more. I'm quite, which I'm going to take you guys later, but my best mate happens to be a famous artist, Vince Fantuzzo, who's married to another famous actress, Asha Ketty. They're great friends. And like with Vince, I'm learning a lot about art. And it's funny, a lot of the high wealth clients love art. So now I say my best mate's actually an Archibald Prize winner. They're like, what? I've heard of him. And I can start talking about his pieces, and they love that. So it's just to get to the next level. It's always being a student, so always learning, always trying to, I think there's some agents that I know, ego is the enemy. They think they're writing bloody $500,000 GCI, 800 grand GCI, and they think they know everything, right? I'm writing what I'm writing, but I know I've got heaps to learn. And if I get advice, I don't think, who is that person to give me advice? I think, thank you. What can I learn? I learn from my mistakes. So it's about evolving, learning from my mistakes, asking myself at breaks, like the Christmas break when I'm refreshing, or in the halfway mark, Kev will say, how can I get better? How can I improve? What did I do wrong? What didn't work? What does work? And how can I, the things I didn't work, how can I make that work? And how the things that working, how can I get better? How can I stay in front of my competition? It's just always growth mindset is the best advice I can give.
What is it about your current mindset that gives you the maximum amount of leverage in real estate to do and operate the way you are? In other words, if you were to give advice to your son or your younger self, what needed to change for you now to have the mindset you've got?
It's a good question. You have to be in a really good headspace. So, when you're in a good headspace, you're in a good relationship with your partners at home, you feel you're not drinking, you're not partying, you feel physically fit. So when you're the best version of yourself, the world's your oyster. That's when you get yourself a growth mindset. How can I get better? How can I improve? So that's the biggest thing. So, it's always just the world's your oyster. I don't know. Sometimes I think it's in you as well. I think when you're not silver spoon, you grow up with some hardship and you want better in life, you will have a growth mindset to say, some people go, aren't you happy? You want more, but I'm not. But there'll be a time I'll go, I'm happy, but I've just got a great growth mindset to get better and better. Why wouldn't you? Sometimes I see people doing well. I'd love to do that. Or you see someone on TV, imagine doing that. Or you see someone else owning a holiday house somewhere or a boat or something, and everything's possible. So, excuse me. Just having a growth mindset, it just keeps you motivated. So I'm going to give you an example. You came to my office, right? And some people think I'm like a Rain Man with my whiteboard. They just see that, but I'm a very visual person. I'm getting a massage chair actually fitted as we speak downstairs by an old Greek guy. I'm going to put the massage chair, so when I'm so sore, I can still do calls. But my office is, because if I go, when you lose that hungry stomach and when you get too comfortable, you could lose that eye of the tiger. I grew up loving Rocky. I don't know if you ever watched Rocky. Yeah. You guys are younger. And, Rocky was, not silver spoon. It's from the streets. And I just feel like if I'm too posh, so I've got my office set up, not too comfortable because I need to work. If I've got all these, I want to sit there and get my mates in and drink, but I'm not going to do that. So I don't have the posh and the leather stuff. I've got a good desk, all these whiteboards, you saw that, all these paperwork there. It's about what's going to help me make the most money. It's like winning ugly instead of losing pretty.
Winning ugly instead of losing pretty.
It's a bit like that.
I like that. It's like when you're at the gym and you have those old school metal
100%. And it creates you better.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the way I feel.
I know from my experience, the more you kind of get in that flow momentum where it's no longer about needing to, you're acting and creating a life by design, and it becomes like a game and fun. It's like, you're really building for yourself, that's from my experience now. I'm really noticing that transition where before you kind of build from a lack state, but there gets to a point too where you start to get momentum. It's like, it's fun. It's like I don't know. Do you ever experience that yourself?
When you're having success, you enjoy it. Bloody oath. So you guys are probably going through a stage, you're just growing and things are getting better. Like I've followed you guys now for 15 months. And mate, you can just see how much your profiles have got, you know, and even watching your business. So, and you're enjoying it, right? So I love my job. Like actually, the only thing sometimes I don't like about my job is when you're copping abuse and you're getting people really negative and judge you. But I actually love the fact that I get to meet different people every day. I'm never doing the same thing most days. I get to work around good people. I get to work my hours. So even though I work long hours, I get to work Matt's hours. So sometimes, for example, I'll start really early and finish at 6 because I've got something on. And sometimes I might actually work at 9:30. But I'll be in the office till 8:30, right? Like whatever. So I don't, not stuck, robotic, etc. So, sometimes I'll decide to work a half a day on a Sunday because I know I want to have 3 or 4 days off at the long weekend. Just look, the more you work, the more money. It's just simple like that. The more hours you put in. So it's just, hard work. Or what was the...
I was just saying, like, for me, I've noticed, we were talking about...
your progress,
progress, like, it's just...
Yeah,
it's not... Yeah, the progress, it's enjoyable now. Like, you really just... It's like...
100%. You enjoy it, when you got momentum, 100%. 100%. So when you got momentum, things like that, it just helps you. Like, you enjoy... Like, if you put around good people, like, I love the fact that you two are best mates.
Very
close
very,
mates.
very close.
So, you got this dream together and a goal together. So I've probably got that with my wife and kids. Like... They're like, and you've probably got, you both got partners, and one day you probably say, see guys a bit older like myself and Marty and other people that you've interviewed who got kids and good relations, and you'll say, I'd love to be that in 10 years. So I can tell, look at you guys, in 10 years' time, you'll both be dads, happily married, 1 or 2 or 3 kids. I can see it, right? And I can see that you're thinking that now, but you're not there yet. So... you're enjoying yourself. But so we're doing the same thing. I enjoy the people. If I was in a really bad marriage, didn't have the kids, maybe I wouldn't be enjoying the thing, I suppose. So it's a combination of balance. If I was just working, if I knew I wasn't like for the long weekend, we got the Melbourne Cup weekend. It's a big weekend in Victoria because you guys are from Sydney. So the long weekend, I'm going to go, that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We've got a holiday house in Blairgowrie. It's like a beach town near Portsea. And I'm going to be with my family. But I said, Duke, he's bringing 5 friends. Stella's bringing 5 friends. I just know I'll be cooking barbecues and stuff, but I can't wait. Yeah. But if I didn't have that mentally, so like I'm working now 6.5 days a week. So I'm doing 5 days, and on a Sunday I'm doing 3 or 4 hours. But I know I've got to... Beautiful, I've got that. Then I know I'm going to go so hard for 6-7 weeks, but then I've got the Christmas period. Then I know when I start again in February. So it's about having those breaks with people that you love, then you enjoy your job because there's an end all the time. If that makes sense.
Well said.
I'm curious about what your investment strategy is now. Like you mentioned before, there's been some failed investments that you've done or things just didn't work out. You're now hanging around high net worth clientele that are always talking about what they're investing in. What's changed? What are you putting your money into now?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I stretched myself. I bought 3 years ago a residential house here in Brighton East, and what I made sure is to buy something that would have capital growth. So I could have bought it a few years earlier, but I wanted to be in this suburb. I wanted to have a primary place of residence from a tax point, but I also wanted to give the kids some. I didn't want them moving all the time, so I said, I'm going to buy a really good house that have capital growth. 700 square metres of land, good home, so that will always grow. So A, I've got my made money into that. B, obviously Kay Burton into that. So equity, and then obviously the Bali Villa, and obviously we've got some goal. I'm going through a transition where kids are at private school fees. Living, cars, everything. It's got to make a lot of money. So next thing I'm probably looking at is an investment property, whether it's in Victoria, interstate. Victoria at the moment is not going as well as New South Wales and Queensland. That's the honest truth. I hope things change, but there's just going through a little dull period at the moment, I think. But looking at investing either in a development, couple of townies, something I'm quite blessed now to have great friendships with some developers who are builders, And, they're like, do you want to chuck anything? I'm like, maybe in a year's time or 2 years' time. I think, as soon as Duke gets to year 12, I could free up a bit of money, a bit more debt, debts off my house, a bit more money, equities bought in a Kay Burton. I'm looking at stuff. So I'm looking into that. But I don't want to, as I said, I want to be wealthy financially, but I also want to be wealthy health-wise, because I reckon if there's some real millionaires I know, billionaires I know, who aren't physically healthy, or they're overweight. So it's a real balance.
Yeah, it sounds like what I've realized with you. You're big on that balance with your health.
100%.
Like, wealth to you is more than just money.
Yeah, I've had 2 or 3 guys worth 300, 400, 500 mil, and they go to me, like they've said to me, it's just been a compliment, mate. Don't worry about me being rich. You're rich. You're bloody happy. Look at you. And I was like, mate, relax. Look at your rig. Look at your tan. But when I think about it, you've got a great wife. Belle's a great chick. And they'll say things like that because they're usually about 50s and 60s, late 50s, early 60s. And I think to myself afterwards, he said that. And money's not everything. Like they're overweight a bit or not overly happy because they might have not been present with their kids through the important times. They might have regret. So it is, I want to make as much money as I can so I can have a great life and look after people. If I've got money, I'll come for dinner, I'll do this. But I also want to make sure I don't have regrets and I don't have any physical, like to be physically fit for me. I feel like I'm a millionaire as well, honestly.
My last question for you. If you were to give your sales associate, Kevin, one piece of advice, if you were to boil everything down to that one piece of advice that's going to help him along his journey, what would it be?
It would be to, the choice of, firstly, your partner at home is a very important choice. So make sure you have a happy home. You have someone who's supporting you because they're one of the biggest mental and happiness, personal decisions / business decisions you can ever make. Having a good partner, wife, etc. Because divorce costs you a lot of money, but also having a bad home life mentally day to day, you're never going to put it. So I'll say to Kevin, my colleague, who's a lot younger than me, have a great house, be in a good space, keep yourself physically good. Don't overwork if you're not training. Make sure you have a good balance. If you're physically fit, it's going to help you mentally, and it's going to help you with your job and your health. Work hard, learn, grow. And it's always about getting better and better. That's every year, and enjoy your job. Like I'll try to make him and Samantha and Melissa and Scott and Chantel and Campbell and all my Tony, I'll try to make them laugh all the time so they're enjoying their job, because I want them to go home and sometimes go, that was fun. We bloody worked hard, I'm tired, but it was fun. So I'd just be telling him, home life's important. As my mantra is consistency builds trust. So you just always consistent, you'll get the respect. Be a doer, not a sayer, as well. And, just get better, work hard, be physically as best possible, and you'll mentally be right. And, just enjoy the job.
I feel like I need to hit the gym
Right,
after this
so-
podcast.
I feel bad.
Mate, he's full of energy. My last question for you, just out of curiosity, Matty, what do you reckon will be the proudest day of your life when you're looking back and you're 80?
Yeah, I think it's the times with my kids and my wife when they have success, because I can hope I've contributed to that. Like my son, for example, it was an okay footballer, AFL. So 3 years ago, he said, "Oh, Dad, I love AFL, but I'm not that good. I'd love to be good and even make AFL one day." I said, "Mate, it's very hard to make, but B, you're going to have to do a lot of work. And, you're going to have to do things on the side that your mates don't do. You're going to be the fittest." And he's trained so hard. He won the best in fairest this year for the first time at 16 for his side. And he also won the best in fairest for his year level at Brighton Grammar, which is, he was probably the third best player because the two best played with the year 12s. But it was a big achievement for him. And I was just so proud, not because it's muscular and it's a man, but I was so proud I was able to help him and mentor him. So just the success of my close my family, my close friends, watching them have success and having good experiences. It's funny, but It's not having experiences like, let's go and drive a Ferrari around the track for 5 hours and pay 10 grand, or go on a. But having experiences like holidays and great dinners and great times and just doing things with people that you love, good friends and family, are things that you look back and go, it was all. And I think the close people, having close mates and having your 2 kids and your wife who want to be with you. I love hanging out with Dad. He's funny, speaking highly of you. That's a big thing. That's success. So that's things I want to look back and just, I've had great memories, great times, because no one can ever take that out of that. Out of you. That's the honest truth.
Well done, mate. Matt Pillios, thank you so much.
Legend.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another Both Sides podcast. Just want to say a big thank you for the support up until now. If you've got value from the episode, could you please go like and follow us on the social platforms, for example, Spotify and YouTube, as that will help us continue to get better quality guests. Bye for now.